Hey guys, it's Bridget with San Diego Seed Company, and today I want to talk about a very specific crop that you probably all have struggled with, and I'm going to make it a lot easier for you. We're going to talk about spinach. I love growing spinach because farm fresh or garden fresh spinach is so incredibly tasty and so enjoyable to harvest, but I know it can be hard. So in this video, I'm going to talk all about the things I've learned on how to grow spinach really well in a hot and dry climate. But before I get into that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you're notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so spinach, I'm not gonna lie, spinach and carrots were like the two really hard crops for me to master here in zone 9 and 10 because we're hot and we're dry. Our soil conditions are not great. It's a hard crop. You really gotta know what you're doing. So I'm gonna talk about the when, what, and the how of growing spinach so that you can feel confident in how to grow it. Now, spoiler alert, before I get into that, there is a spinach variety that is ridiculously easy to grow, and I'm gonna talk about it right now. It's called New Zealand spinach. So it's actually not like your traditional store-bought spinach. It's actually a different plant type, but it grows really well in hot, dry climates, great for a permaculture garden. It's basically a weed, but it's an edible weed that is packed with really good vitamins and omegas, and it can be a substitute for spinach. So we're gonna be giving away 1 pack of this to a lucky winner. Make sure you like the video, comment below, and subscribe to our channel, and enter and subscribe to our newsletter because that's how we will announce the winner. It's super easy to grow. You can grow it almost anywhere. And if you've never had any good luck growing regular spinach, maybe start with this and then watch this full video and you'll get a little bit better year by year. Okay, so that's New Zealand spinach. I have a row here of all kinds of different varieties of spinach that we've grown on the farm. Bear with me, doesn't look totally beautiful because this is probably week 4 of harvest. We've been harvesting and harvesting and harvesting, and I've been packing my freezer with spinach. We like to blanch it and blend it and then keep it in the freezer for smoothies later. We've been eating it fresh. I've been putting it in everything. So it doesn't look fabulous, but I still have a lot of spinach here to harvest. And I want to point out first the different varieties. So this going this way is Lizard, which is all of these varieties are varieties that we carry that I love because after decades of growing spinach, I have found several varieties that do really well, that just have the characteristics to really grow well in our climate. And Lizard is one of them. What is interesting about this variety is the shape of its leaf. So it's got this really like pointed corners on the leaves, kind of looks like a lizard tongue. That's how I always kind of think of it. So Lizard is one variety. If we keep moving down here, this is Kookaburra, which is another variety I really like. You'll notice that this variety is really compact. So it really grows very densely together, which is awesome for small beds, raised beds, pots, it does really well in. What's great about this variety is because it's so compact, you can come in and cut these little, pieces in the middle and get these awesome kind of baby spinach leaves, which are really delicious. Okay, so moving down, we've got another variety here. This guy is Kokihi. Another fabulous variety. And again, if we're looking at it and we're trying to look at the subtle differences, the leaf is a lot more, it's not flat. It has a lot more, shape to it. Very large leaves, you can see really big. And so, little differences between the varieties. I love all of these, and honestly, when I grow spinach, I like to grow a little bit of lots of different varieties so that I have savory, semi-savory, all the different varieties of spinach in my salad, in my soups. I love them all. Every variety we carry, we've trialed and tested for growing in zone 9 and 10 or in hot, dry climates. So we're not going to carry some of the varieties you're gonna see maybe with northern seed companies or colder areas because I'm really focusing on what can grow in our climate. Doesn't mean these can't grow up in Washington or, Montana, but they're definitely gonna do well here in Southern California, Arizona, Texas, all of the southern states. So speaking of that, when do you grow or plant spinach. Well, for zone 9 and 10, all the southern states, we want to grow this in the cool part of the year when the days are getting shorter. So we actually like to plant this in September or even November, in the fall, going into the winter in zone 9 and 10. And you can see we've got this right here. This is row cover. We use this to cover the crops because we're in an area of San Diego County that can get some colder temperatures. And I laugh because many parts of the United States is like -10. Cold temperatures for us is like, it might drop to like maybe below 40, maybe, you know, mid-30s. But we love using the row cover because it's going to hold in moisture. It's going to keep moths from laying their eggs on my spinach so that we don't have cabbage loopers. It does a number of things. And if you're in a colder climate than we are, this is a must for your winter crops because it's going to protect it from frost. So super key professional product here. It's called row cover. So we plant this, we actually planted this from seed. I don't have a date in there, but I'm pretty sure it was like mid-September. We let it germinate. You can tell that we've been harvesting it and harvesting and harvesting it. The most important part when you're growing spinach in any time of the year where it's going to be warmer is making sure the soil stays moist the whole time, which can be kind of difficult. Again, this row cover is going to guarantee that it's blocking out some of the UV light, it's holding in humidity. You will get better, quicker, and more even germination on any direct sown seed. So we actually didn't transplant this. We put the seed directly into the ground. You can start these in pots and plant them out, but they're so easy to direct sow that I highly recommend you do that if you have, you know, pretty well cultivated soil and you're staying on top of watering. It's a cinch just to put the seed in the ground directly and get them to germinate from there. The key predators of these guys are things like roly-polies, leaf miners, slugs, snails, all the things that can wipe these guys out when they're just barely germinating. Lucky for you, very simple process to help eliminate that. After we plant the seed and we cover up the seed, we actually treat with Sluggo Plus. It's a organic product that you can use. It's safe for gardens with kids, pets. We have the product on our website. You can check it out there. But basically what it does is it dissolves on top of the soil and it's going to eliminate, not all, but most of the crawling insects that will devour the tiny little seedlings as they germinate. Lucky for us, we only have to apply that once, and then once the plant gets growing and is big and happy, it will totally grow through anything else that munches on them. And you'll notice, if you look at our spinach, it's not perfect. I let insects eat it. It's okay. If they're eating it, it means it's delicious. I'm gonna chop it up anyways and put it in a stir fry or put it in a smoothie. I don't really care about it looking perfect. I'm not selling this to a restaurant or to a grocery store where it needs to look perfect. That's the beauty of growing your own produce. So we only have to treat that first time with Sluggo Plus. Next is fertility. Okay, how do you fertilize spinach or really any leafy green? What we like to do is make sure that we add fertilizer into the soil when we cultivate it that first round through. That means that we put in a little bit of granular organic fertilizer to make sure that there is ample plant food in our soil to get these guys growing. Spinach is not a high feeding crop. It's not like broccoli or cabbage or cauliflower that gets really big and needs a lot of nutrients. You can use fish emulsion or a liquid organic fertilizer throughout the growing season if you need to. We don't find that there is a need for that. So fertilize at the beginning, let them grow. The next key thing about spinach is you gotta harvest it. The more you harvest, the more you'll get out of this plant. As I said, we've harvested this probably 4 times through, and every time we harvest it, we're basically taking off the old so the plant has energy to bring out the new. You can see how we've just trimmed around the outside of the plant here. There's many different ways you can do it. You can just grab it and take the whole thing and do a haircut. You can go through, and I usually just do the pinch, and I kind of pinch around the outside, get all these leaves. You want to harvest often as well because the older leaves will start to get a little more tough. So if I keep pulling off these older leaves, I'm pulling off the older leaves to give it energy to make the middle ones, you know, bigger. And I'm eventually going to get to these delicious succulent middle plants here, or middle leaves. So harvest regularly and often. Spinach doesn't like to wilt, so if you have irrigation, use it. If you're hand watering, you're gonna need to stay on top of that. That makes a big difference. The other issues that you can have with spinach is something called powdery mildew or downy mildew. Most varieties today have some type of powdery mildew or downy mildew resistance bred into them. It's part of the reason why we love these varieties. It doesn't mean they absolutely won't get them or won't get those issues. The best way to prevent them is to water at the soil level. Do not overhead water your plants. That's more likely to encourage different foliar diseases. So if you guys wanna grow delicious organic spinach in your garden, on your farm, I've given you all the tips on how to do it. It's really not that hard as long as you master a few things. Keeping moisture in the ground, making sure your plants don't get powdery mildew or downy mildew. And really, it's pretty simple. I've mentioned some really cool varieties that we have on our website. And one of them is also a variety that's actually not spinach, but it's called New Zealand spinach, and it's super easy to grow. Anybody can grow it. We are giving away a pack with this video, so make sure you like this video, comment below, subscribe to our channel, and subscribe to our newsletter so that you can be notified when you win.